Namaskaram everyone. Namaskaram. I see we have a few people. Namaskaram. Can you hear me? If you guys could please confirm if my audio is okay. I know I have enabled slow mode in the chat, but I see there are people. Dhairyajit Singh ji, Namaskaram, hi. Let me wait for a couple of people to join in, then we'll start this live. Namaskaram, welcome. I see everybody's here. Jai Shri Ram, Radhe Radhe, and Namaskaram, Hari Om. Wonderful, there is some Odia person in chat. Oh, it's Sahanji. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Shahan. Thank you so much for helping with Odia translations. How are they coming along? I hope they're good. Is my audio okay, guys? Is my audio okay? Namaskaram. I know this is a little bit of a different setup from what we usually have. I'm hoping we'll have more of these live streams like this. There are some surprises. There are some, some things that I want to experiment with on the channel. So that's why we have this setup. There is a green screen, blue screen behind, and we'll have a couple of interesting apps on screen. Audio is good. Thank you so much, Abhishek ji. So, Namaskaram, welcome. First of all, a very, very, very happy Republic Day to everybody, all the Indians, all the Bharatvasis here in chat. A very happy Republic Day to all of us. And of course, today is Saraswati Puja and Vasanta Panchami. So we have been celebrating Vasanta Navaratris for the past, this is the 5th night of the Vasanta Navaratris of the Vasanta Masa. Vasanta Rutu in the Magha Masa. So, Jai Ma Saraswati. Shantosh Bishash. I think that's how your name is pronounced. I'm loving Bangla, by the way. All Bengali people in chat have such a beautiful language, but I'm slightly worried that my Sanskrit pronunciations might go bad with all the Bangla that I'm learning. But what a beautiful language. So just a small deviation there. But yes, thank you so much, Saroji. Nepali translations of Shyamala Dandakam are almost done. Banas ji is helping us with Nepali translations of Shyamala Dandakam. So on this auspicious occasion of Vasanta Panchami of Saraswati Puja, we were able to do Shyamala Dandakam in 3 languages. So translations in other subsequent languages are still being worked upon. They'll come soon. So we have translations in English, Hindi and Telugu so far on the channel. I've seen that they've been received very well. So thank you so much for all the support there. And you might see in descriptions that there are 2 links to PDFs, Google Drive links, so they are free to everybody, not just patrons or YouTube members. I'll make translations of, let's get into what those PDFs is about, and we'll get into all that. But I thought once there is enough audience, we'll start with a small shloka that most of us might have learnt during childhood on Devi Saraswati. How many of you know Yakundendu Tusharahara Dhavala? We have actually covered the meanings in detail of this particular shloka on our channel itself. Everybody knows? Sandeep. Is Sandeep P the same Sandeep Anna from Bengaluru? I don't know if it's the same Sandeep Anna, but Namaskaram. You know. Ankit ji knows. Atul ji knows. Wonderful. Dinesh ji also knows. Many people know. Wonderful. So it's an extremely beautiful shloka of the Sattvic form of Devi Saraswati, not Devi Shyamala. But let's start with her shloka. Yes, lovely. Namaskaram. Yes, everybody knows. So let's start with her shloka. There are a couple of variations in this shloka, but let's just chant what most of us know. Ya kundendu tusharahara dhavala Ya shubhravastranvita Ya veena varadanda manditakara Ya shveta padmasana Ya brahmachyuta shankara prabhratibhe devai sada pujita sa mam patu saraswati bhagavati nishesha jadyapaha. There were a couple of variations. Maybe some of you might have learnt it as Ya Shubhra Vastra Vrita. Some people chant it as Vastranvita. Devai Sada Pujita, Devai Sada Vandita. There are slight patha bhedas. But a beautiful, beautiful shloka on Goddess Saraswati, describing her in her pure white garments, in that whiteness of fresh series of early morning dewdrops, and holding her veena and sitting on a white lotus, and who is worshipped by all the Trimurtis. So in that form of Goddess Saraswati, celebrating Vasanta Panchami, this is the first in a series of many, many, many live streams exploring Sangeeta Shastra, I'm hoping. So again, this is one of the projects that has been on my mind for a long time, among the hundreds of projects that I want to cover before time runs out. So we are in this extreme hurry of trying to cover everything. But I mean, there are so many people helping us with all the language translations also, but there's only so much that can be done. But among those that can be done right now, I thought we'll start Sangeeta Shastra. In the last live stream of explaining who Devi Shyamala is, her yantra, and her place in the Shri Yantra and the Shri Yantra Meru, how it correlates with the human body, which has been received very well, lakhs of views. So I mentioned that there are many ancient texts on Sangeeta Shastra, from Sangita Ratnakara to Matanga Muni's Brihad Deshi to many texts to right, Sangeeta Makaranda, Sangeeta Darpana, Dattilam. So there are many of them, and the most prominent of all of them, the most authoritative text among all of these ancient texts is Sangita Ratnakara. So you'll find a text. I'm hoping it's visible on screen. One second. In the description, I have included this text. This, can you guys see this on screen? Please let me know. So in description, I have left links to both both volumes of Sangeeta Ratnakara, which have been translated into English from Sanskrit in 1970s. So I am still going through this text. I am not too fond of other people's translations, English translations. I kind of am a little particular on how verses are translated, but I think this is one of the most reliable translations, because very, very interestingly, this translation has been done by a scholar named R.K. Shringi, and the original work was done by Sharangadeva, whose name, both of these people's names match. So Sharanga and Shringa, his name, the last name of the translator, are related. So it's the extension of Shringa, which means a peak or a horn, or that is where Shringara is also from. So that horn, that peak, that elevation is what Sharanga is also from. So that's just a side note. So it's done in 2 volumes. It has multiple chapters, almost 7 chapters, I think, this work. So we'll go, 8 sections of Sangita Ratnakara, and it deals with the Shastra, the exploration and the principles of Sangeeta, what Sangeeta is, what Nada is, Shruti is, what Swara is, what Gramas, Murchanas, Kramas, Tanas, all of them are until compositions, Geetis at the very end. How long will this exploration take is something that I don't know, but we can get started from the absolute principles. So I thought this is what we'll do today in this live stream. So we'll start with what sound is, what the Sapta Swaras are, and eventually we'll go towards the 22 Swaras. And like I said in again the previous live stream, theoretical exploration as in a scholarly approach, just understanding verses is at one level. But what is more practical, what is more appropriate is to be able to relish and experientially know and have a physical grasp of appreciating these notes and swaras for oneself. So to do that, I know a little bit of being in sur, I can sing a little bit, but I'm not very well versed with it, and I don't have, I'm not undergoing any kind of classes. But one instrument that I thought I can take up to explore this in a more practical sense is the Bansuri or the Venu or the bamboo flute. So we'll be using this and some of these Jugadu apps that I have found, which can help us in being able to appreciate these sounds and shrutis. One of those apps is called as Pitch Lab. It looks like this. So what you see on screen right now is, hold on. Yeah. What you guys see on screen is the interface of this app, which is available on Android, called Pitch Lab. And this will help us visualize what these Sapta Swaras are and 22 Shrutis are, because it's a real-time demonstration of what is being played, what Shruti, what is it's the phone's input is at. For example, if I were to play a pure Swara, I'll not go into which Swara right now, what is it in English, etc. But it's the note E right now. So this will help us visualize what's being played. And so we'll start from absolute basics, and I'll start by practicing the long notes, one swara at a time with absolute, snail's pace. So if any of you want to learn this along with me, this is what I'm planning to explore and learn for myself. So if any of you is interested in learning this, you can join me. I've already brought on the teacher, my guide, who I'm trying to learn this from, who has been playing the Bansuri for the last 2 decades, is Vivek Anantram from Mumbai. He was on our live stream. We'll bring him on for more and more live streams, and he has started making YouTube videos. So we'll take his help. We'll, start from the absolute basics and a lot of theory on Sangeeta Shastra in our channel. But on his channel, which is called The Silent Flautist, there'll be more practical lessons on how to play the Bansuri, how to play these patterns called as alankaras, and how to gain mastery over practical aspects of Nadopasana or Sur Sadhana, whatever you want to call it. So that is the plan. And we'll also go through the shlokas of Sangita Ratnakara first. This will be our primary text of exploration. We'll also look at other shlokas from Sangeeta Darpana, I have that book right there, Sangeeta Darpana and Sangeeta Makaranda of Narada. All of this is said to have come from Samaveda. And so that is what we'll be doing. So the most fundamental, any questions, comments so far, guys, before I go into the the origin and the movement of sound, the Anahata Nada and Ahata Nada. I was thinking, how can I demonstrate this practically? And then I realized I have the Ektara with me, this one. So this is the best instrument to demonstrate what vibration is, because this is a single string. So vibrations on a string will be able to physically see and kind of relate with. So before we get into that, how can there be some sound which is unstruck, and why is sound how is sound produced when you strike something, and what is a frequency, and how the relationship between frequency and wavelength and the tension in a string, and it's like linear density we can't really check in this. We will not go into that much physics also. There is a physics formula that connects frequency of a vibrating string with its length, its tension, and the linear density. But we'll just see what is practical for our understanding. Is it possible for a guitar? Yeah, I mean, it's a 6-string instrument. This is a 1-string instrument. So it's the same. The principles are the same, be it voice, be it a flute, or be it a conch, or be it a singing bowl, which I have right there. It's all sound. So yes, Nada Brahma Vishwaswarupa. We'll get to all of that. But before that, any comments? Okay, I see some more wishes. Namaskaram. Gokul ji, you're from Bengaluru. Namaskaram. Ankit Mohanji, my pleasure. I'm glad you guys are finding this useful. The concurrent viewers, I see the concurrent views are more than likes, so please leave a like button. I am not exactly following the YouTube analytics data to make content, because if I were to go by YouTube analytics, the wiser thing to do would be to cover more and more of tantra, because our last video on tantras and on the Shri Yantra and how its correlations are with the human body, it gained a lot of views. So clearly you guys want to know more about the 9 levels of Shri Yantra and what the different deities are, how they correspond with the human body, and more of that esoteric tantra related stuff. That I know if I do more of that, eventually the views will escalate to more lakhs and millions, hopefully. But I want to get deeper into all the other shastras as well. We have done tantra enough, so there is videos of chakras, how they what their natures are. We've done all of that. So now I want to go into Sangeeta Shastra also, eventually to other shastras also. There are a lot of shastras waiting for us. There is Agama, there is Vastu, there is Jyotisha. But this is one of the most aesthetic ones. This is the most enjoyable one. So please leave a like button, because this might be one of the not so sought after, not so crowd friendly, not so crowd luring topics. So yes, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much, Sudhir Singh ji. Bhavya ji asks, what do you do for a living? How do you earn? You see Nandini ji below your comment. She is one of our members. So people who pay us like Nandini ji, so that's how I make a living. Gaurav ji says, I am keeping my girl child name as Nyasa. It's a good name. Nyasa is to place, to bequeath. So sannyasa, so anganyasa, karanyasa and sannyasa. So that nyasa is to be established. So it's a good name. At Gaurav SFG. It's a good name, all in all. Happy Vasant Panchami. Yes, once again, a very happy Vasant Panchami. We did Saraswati shloka. So if you guys are interested in learning more Saraswati shlokas, there is Saraswati Ashtottaram, I think. And there are a couple of chants also on Goddess Saraswati. Do check them out. Of course, we have done Shyamala Dandakam, so by Mahakavi Kalidasa. Is it correct to explore Tantra online? Exploration as something which quenches your curiosity, definitely, Atulji. as practice where you are sitting down with yantras and you're chanting a mantra and doing your sadhana, definitely not. Please don't do such things by watching YouTube videos. But to just learn about the Shastra in general, and to get the theory behind all of it, why it works, how it works, what the physical correlation is with the body, all such things you can do, but not sadhana. Lovely. No, I don't live in Isha Yoga Center, Coimbatore. I lived there for almost 3 years. I wish to go back. That's my eventual destination. But I'm doing all of this, and so I came out of the ashram to explore more of Sanskrit content. But they also need some help with Sanskrit content. Isha Samskriti has a lot of need for Sanskrit content. Some contact I have, but eventually I hope to go back to the ashram, but not right now. I don't live there. How do you learn Sanskrit? I also want to learn. Trading Acharya is asking. Maybe you are teaching other people how to trade. How to learn Sanskrit? There is this playlist called Concepts of Sanskrit Grammar. Get started with it. It's free on the Sanskrit channel. If you want to get a little more, get on a kind of a path to get started with learning, you can check out our first course called as Vak Shuddhi. It is there for members only content on YouTube channel in the members section. Check out that Vak Shuddhi playlist. Yes, I do live with my parents, Baleshji. There are a lot of unrelated questions, but yes, I do live with my parents. My father is in Mysore. He has 1.5 years more of service, so he is there currently, temporarily. But yes. Please tell us about Vidyarambham. V.K. Shahaji asks. More Bengalis. Namaskaram. Vidyarambham. Yes, that's how it would be pronounced in Bangla. It's one of the 16 sanskar, the 16 samskaras, 16 main samskaras. There are hundreds of them. It has a very beautiful aesthetic process, but simpler. I mean, you get rice grain and some, kajal. But there are so many rituals. Maybe that is also a topic that we can cover. There are so many rituals right from childhood until death and beyond, and all of them have a lot of significance. People have written books about it, describing them. But what is the exact process? What are the vows that keep happening in different samskaras, especially in vivaha samskaras? What the significance there is? There's a lot to cover. Wow, so many questions. We will probably bring back everything under the sun later on, but let's get into a little bit of, let's step into Sangeeta Shastra now. So all of it starts with Nada. In the previous live stream again, we saw how Nada is the Agni Tattva and the Vayu Tattva coming together. But what is it in essence? It is a vibration. So all of existence happening in different complexities of vibration. And when does something vibrate? When you agitate it. So and what is a vibration first of all? It is repetitive motion, right? So when something is vibrating, what is it doing essentially? It is doing the same movement again and again, traversing the same path again and again. So in essence, it is a repetitive motion is a vibration. And all of existence is repetitive cyclical motion in a more esoteric sense. But at a very, as a source of sound, anything like, for example, this string that is there in the middle. So this is the ektara. It's a one string instrument from here to here. There is a single string. And if this string starts moving repeatedly, it makes a sound. But when can we start hearing something? Our eardrums are sensitive to sounds which are at a certain vibrance, at a certain speed, or a certain, certain intensity. And what is that measured in? How do you measure that? How is that when is something heard? In how many number of times something is moving per second. If this string is moving like this, I'm pushing it forward, backward, once, twice every second, you can't hear it. So if it is moving twice every second, it is 2 hertz. Hertz is the unit of number of repetitions per second. But if this starts moving forward and backward more than 20 times per second, we start hearing the sound. So it is repeated movement of something, and it starts making a sound. What is it doing? This is moving back and forth. Ting. I hope you can hear it. Is this audible? So what happened? I struck it. I pass some energy from here to this. So that is, yes, all vibrate. That is how vibrations are produced. There is air here. I pass on some energy to it, move that air molecules around. I strike. There is a sound. You hear it. If you have a metal scale with you, you start moving that metal scale. Once you strike it in such a way that it moves more than 20 times per second, you strike it in with such intensity that it starts moving more than 20 times per second, there is sound. So that is Anahata Nada. All of this. Okay, 1 second. Give me 1 second. Let me. So there is this singing bowl. This makes quite some sound. So if you strike it, this metal starts vibrating, and if it's moving like this at less than 20 times, 20 repetitions per second, one can't hear it. But if it starts moving more than 20 repetitions per second, there is human perceivable sound. But how the nature of that sound is heard is what is called as pitch, or it's as the number of repetitions per second starts increasing, you say the pitch of that vibration is going up. Or there are other ways of increasing that pitch. You can also tighten the medium. You can also make that medium denser. So for example, this vibrating string, if you tighten it, it is under more tension. So it'll vibrate at a much higher frequency. You can also reduce the linear density. So there are these physical experiments where they have figured out what the relationship between the length of a vibrating string is and what the relationship between the frequency and the tension that a string has is, and its linear density, the mass per unit length. So if you increase that tension, I just tightened this, you perceivably hear it a little more shrill. Right? So this means the frequency has increased. And if we look at our trusty app, where is this? The Pitch Lab, which helps us visualize that pitch. Even perceivably to the human ear, you feel that it has become shrill. But to see it on screen, if it is loose, the sound would be like this. Let me loosen it some more. You see, it's at F. This line is happening at F, around F. Now it is, if I tighten it, it is at A sharp. What that A sharp is, what all of that means will come later, but as you tighten it, as the sound gets shriller, its pitch gets increasing. You could also have done the same thing by shortening the length of the string. So basically what all of this boils down to for our understanding is when you strike something so that it starts moving in a repeated way for a certain number of times, which is called as its frequency, you get Anahata Nada, something which has been struck. So the source of everything that is in repeated movement is that we perceive is from two things striking against each other, right? So I strike this string, it makes a sound Ahata. Ahata is to beat, to strike. If you, and how do you increase the sound of something, increase the pitch of something? How you, there are many parameters. You can either increase the tension in that vibrating source, or you can reduce its density, linear density, or you can increase its tension. So you get different sound, pitches like that. I hope this is clear. What this is meant to do is just demonstrate that this sound is coming when you strike, hit, ahata, a simple source which can move repeatedly. This is exactly what the same thing happening in the vocal cavity. But it's a much more complex arrangement than just a single string. In fact, I also agree with this, and many people opine that this is the most complex of vibrating sound producing structures in the existence. You can make something which makes, you can make all kinds of musical instruments. You can make pianos, keyboards, violins, harmoniums, whatever else. But nothing comes close to the human vocal capability, vocal cords. So even here, it is two vocal flaps coming together, striking each other. So all of this is Anahata Nada. So sound that has been produced, vibration that happens when two things strike. There is another more fundamental vibration in creation. Things are in movement, in cyclical movement. Things are in repetitive motion without two things having struck together. Spontaneous sound, anadi sound. This did not happen by two things striking each other or somebody coming and striking something, but the original sound which happened, which is happening as creation without two things having struck each other, is Anahata Nada. So that is a more experiential thing. It is not something that you create, because it is not something that has been created in the first place. You don't strike two things and create it. It is. So it can only be merged into and experienced. And that is Anahata Nada, which the yogis are after, to get into that. So this is the most fundamental difference, and that is where all of this exploration starts from. What Ahata Nada is, what Anahata Nada is. And how do you make this sound? Do you whistle? Do you pluck against a string? Do you blow air into a bamboo tube or a pen cap? You blow into a pen cap or a bottle, a glass bottle, empty glass bottle, or do you hit against metal objects? Or you can actually make the whole thing resonate without hitting this also. So this is probably the closest you can get to Anahata Nada, because you are this singing bowl thing, you get sound eventually without hitting anything against anything. You just do this rotation around. Can you hear this, guys? This is why a singing bowl sound is so deeply meditative, because it's super resonant, and it's not sound that has been produced by striking something. It's the inherent resonant frequency of the bowl which you bring out, so that they start vibrating, of course, but that vibration is not because something has struck something. Can you hear this? I don't know if it's audible. Anyway, side note again. So there are so many different variations in how that Anahata Nada comes about. So today's session is that Anahata Nada and Anahata Nada. There is friction, of course, but this is not because of friction. Sandeepana, this sound is not because of friction. There is contact, but it's not friction which is getting into the singing bowl to create that sound. But yes, it is anahata. It's not struck. So now that we are clear that Anahata Nada is our ambit of study, Anahata Nada, if we want to study, we'll have to go into the practice of Yoga Shastra and merging into creation. That is not for relishment in the worldly material plane. All of the other stuff that we are about to embark on is very worldly, very material for our emotional pleasantness. It can get us into sorrow. It can get us into anger. It's all very materialistic and worldly. It's just to get a bigger experience and a more profound, vibrant experience of all aspects of life. So now, again, this covers all sorts of sound producing instruments, from the basic one string to the most complex vocal chords. The sounds that are the most natural, which sound the most pleasant and the most obvious, that this is the place of rest. Such sounds are called as swaras. And this swaras, the etymological definition is the same for both a note that is produced out of any of these instruments, or to the vowels that is produced from the vocal cavity. Both of them are swaras. What swara means? Swayam rajate iti swara. Swayam rajata iti swara. So that which is resonant in itself. Rajata is that which rules by itself, is a swara. Swayam rajata. Something which rules by itself. That's that which resonates by itself. That swaras are 7 in number. Like the Sapta Chakras, all those 7 swaras have correlations with the 7 chakras of the human body and the 7 colors of the spectrum, the rainbow visual spectrum. But just to demonstrate how they are, I can't produce them very clearly, but this is how they are. And let's just have a oral feel of how they are. So you see how it's cyclical. Why is it cyclical? Why does it come back? It's because as we perceive it, as their very nature is, any frequency, any level of repetition, and the same repetition happening at twice the same rate is of the same nature. So anything which is repeating 10 times per second has a similar nature as that of something which is repeating 20 times per second orally. And guys, it means a lot coming from silent flautist and Sandeep, and both of whom are Bansuri players, to say this is so good. I am a total noob, but coming from you guys that it is so good and all those namaskarams, it means a lot. Thank you so much. So, for example, I'm going to play two sounds which sound different, but their intrinsic nature, their essence is the same, but their pitch is exactly twice it. See if you can notice it. So both of these sounds, one of which was a little more bass, and the next one, the one played after, which is more shrill, are of the same nature. They feel the same, even if they are clearly two distinct frequencies by numbers. One is x and one is 2x. One is at a certain rate of repetition. The next one is at exactly twice the rate of repetition, but they feel the same. So they are the markers that set the boundaries as to what frequencies sound distinct to the human ear. Now, how many different levels of frequencies are in between them? Infinite. You can keep breaking it. How many levels can you subdivide a circle into? You can, or even a line into, you can break it into the smallest fractions of frequencies. But increases in frequency which have very distinct differences in how we perceive it are divided as distinct notes. And what their differences is, what the interval between one frequency and the next is the interval which decides where these sapta swaras and where these other distinctions fall. Now, depending on how keenly any culture explored the entire gamut of this boundary that we have between one frequency and twice that frequency, different systems of music have different levels between them. The most simplistic of which is the Vedic chanting. In Vedas, they did not really, when they chanted it, when they wanted to express what their realizations were as samagana, they set 3 distinct levels between one frequency and twice that frequency, which is a physical boundary. This is set in nature that everything sounds distinct between the lower boundary and twice that rate of repetition, which is the upper boundary. If you go up beyond that and increase the rate of repetition above that, it is going to sound very similar to what was there before. So you have finished the circle and are repeating that circle again. So maybe we can visualize it. I'll see how to visualize it later in next stream as a circle. But this, you are moving in a circle as you are increasing the rate of repetition of your struck sound. So as I said, that circle, along the path of that circle, there are 3 distinctly different sthanas called Swara sthanas in Samagana, in all of Vedic chanting. So there is Udatta, which is a high frequency, Anudatta, which is a low frequency, and Swarita. Swarita again, that which is a natural sound. So if ever my natural way of speaking is like this, there is one level above, one level below. What is it? How far up is it? How far down is it in terms of frequency? There are some, conventions that different shakhas follow for how high up in that circle should that udatta be, and how low down should anudatta be from Swarita, from my natural sound. This is what you'll observe in all of Vedic chanting. As that got more and more distinct, as people, of course, were able to train their ears to be able to distinctly differentiate between subdivisions of that interval from one frequency to twice it, this 3 distinct swarasthanas became 7. From that, of course, as people trained their ears and observed more closely, those 7 became 12. Those 12, as people distinctly observed more and more different sounds, it became 22. Now, when I was learning a little bit of classical music, I used to struggle, and this was very clearly in my experience, that the teacher would sing Komal Re and those very small intervals between these frequencies, and they would practically sound the same to me. Which means even if that frequency is distinctly different, my ear was not trained sufficiently enough to recognize that difference. As one's hearing gets more and more subtle and trained, there are people who can recognize 22 distinct levels between one set of repetitions and twice that rate of repetition. And those 22 are called as Shrutis. People have done extensive research, right from Bharata Muni. I've heard people have listed out what these 22 Shrutis are. Thankfully, that is where these distinctions stop. Maybe there are, if you train your ears more and more, you can even find very, very, very subtle differences in frequencies. Maybe other creatures do. But for humans, as our ancient texts also go, and in most of modern terminology, and these 22 Shrutis are only in the Bharatiya context, in Sangita Shastra, as much as I know. In the Western music, they have stopped at 12. In Bharatiya Sangeeta Shastra, we have 22 distinct names. We have seen what those names are, an overview in our previous stream. But clearly you can see that even if there are distinct lines, there are 12 lines in this thing that is going behind me, the interval here can increase infinitesimally slowly. You don't have to, these are not discrete. You can, if your ears are trained highly enough, maybe you can distinctly differentiate the frequency that is here from that which is here, from that which is here, and then here. But right now, for lay people, with just a little bit of training, these hard divisions that you see, these distinct, discrete levels, one can very clearly feel and perceive that they are different. So this is where I think probably we can stop, and I'll do some sadhana. This is the plan, guys. So we'll do some theory like this. Today I've not gone through any of the shlokas from Sangita Ratnakara, but we'll explore the chapters and the shlokas, and this is a really good book. If you don't have the time, you can download it for free. This is not something that I have done, or this is something which is available for free on the internet. I have left links to this text in the description below. So there is Sanskrit shlokas and there is English translation as well. So, and Sangita Ratnakara is one text which is extremely comprehensive in its approach towards Sangita Shastra. It looks at Pindotpati, how an embryo is formed, how it is connected with Nada, how the 7 chakras are, how they are connected with Nada, and it's extremely detailed. So this is what we will slowly approach and look at theory. step by step. Today's theory was what Anahata Nada is, what is the origin of Ahata Nada when you strike it, what this gradual increase in frequencies are, why, what that interval between two frequencies is, and that interval is called as an octave in English, but it's just a conventional name. Why it is octa is because of that 8 levels and 8 subdivisions, but all of that is convention. We have 22. So basically, all of that boundary is set because something which is repeating at a certain rate of repetition, and that which repeats twice at the same rate of repetition sound the same to the human ear, and or of the same nature very physically. This can be seen if you hold a string, and it has to do with nodes, antinodes, and all of that more physical stuff. We don't want to get too much into physics. But demonstrably, this is how it is. So we've seen Ahata Nada, Anahata Nada, the origin of 3 Swarasthanas, from there going towards 7 Swarasthanas, and from there going towards 12 Swarasthanas, which you see in this. So this English notation has 12 distinct lines. So that is where we have. So what the names of these are in Carnatic, both Carnatic and Hindustani Shastriya Sangeet, and these exactly are not the same. So these are kind of fixed. So the frequency here, A, generally they fix it, that it is 440 repetitions, 440 times if something is moving per second, it is denoted as the note A. Some people say 432, some people say, somewhere around 400, but that is the maximum leeway they have. But the base swara for Indian classical music is not fixed like this. So you can start from anywhere and have that. We'll see what that is, what those 7 saptaswaras are, and what the use of a tanpura is in a later stream. But this is what I had for today. Meanwhile, somebody did send super chat. Son of Universe, thank you so much. Will you participate in debates in the future? I am not a fan of debates. If I don't know something, I'm glad to sit down and learn from somebody. If I know something, I'm glad to teach with somebody. If somebody does not agree with me and wants to debate it, well, they are entitled to their opinion. I don't really settle on any conclusion unless I test it a lot and have a really deep understanding of it within myself, a convinced understanding within myself. So debates, I don't think debates serve any purpose. At the end of a debate, people who had a conclusion before have the same conclusion after. But if somebody is willing to teach something that I don't know, I'm all ears and I'll sit. So I'm glad to learn and have sessions, but not debates are just two people who think they know something. And it's between somebody who thinks they know something and somebody who thinks what this person knows is wrong. I'm not really interested in that. It's more of an intellectual circus. Yes, Pallaviji says typically if Sa is Svarita, Udata is Komalri and Anudata Komalni below. Yes, Udate Nishada Gandhara. Some people also take Gandhara and Dhaivata instead of Rishabha and Nishada. But we'll not look at Udata Anudata Swarita so much. I'll try to just practice more and more. If you guys want to come practice with me, just practicing Bansuri, you are more than welcome. So I'll just be doing this. I'll do Sarigama Padanisa Sanidapa Magarisa and whatever Vivek ji prescribes, and we'll do more alankaras. For probably the first 2-3 weeks, maybe I'll just do Sarigama Padanisa Sanidapa Magarisa in different talas, and for multiple months we'll just do alankars. That's how usually sadhana goes, but we'll try to bring on more and more theory so that it is not, it tends to get a little repetitive and boring. That's how usually all sadhana is. It is, you don't have a lot of fireworks every day. It is very disciplined. You have to sit down and plow through. But it can be, relished, it can be meditative. You can go deep into your own self and into the Shastra, just practicing it. So yeah, let's get started with that. What are the 22 notes and their names, Apurvaji? In the previous live stream, we did look at that in a slide. I don't remember the names of all 22. For Sa, there is Tivra, Kumudvati. I forgot the other two. So there are 4 microtones for Sa. So there are 22 distinct names like that. Maybe it is, but I can't show it on screen right now. Please check the previous live stream. We'll get there. So in this session, this was the extent of theory. Now we'll get to practice. If any of you wants to come on screen with me, or we'll do a Zoom session later on. Zoom session we'll do just with patrons and YouTube members. But here, if you want to practice along with me, if you want to get a Bansuri for yourself, that's best. So you can use these videos and the silent flautists videos to practice along. So I'll just do some sadhana right now. And before that, maybe we can take a couple of questions. My grandparents did my Janayu at age 10. I'm 34, not working. Can I get moksha with Gayatri Mantra? Very personal question, Gauravji. I'm in Grihastha. Oh, okay. So cannot give away my family or follow a guru. See, if you've gotten into Grihastha, again, it's a very personal thing. Everybody has their own path to take. Buddha gave up Grihastha, did not matter a damn to him. But if for a sensitive mind and a sensitive heart, it's not the way to go. But if you really have that burning fire, none of it matters. The world doesn't matter, let alone your family. But these are very personal pursuits. You can't really, who am I to answer what's appropriate for you? I'm unable to make any sound while playing Flute. Please help. Vedanji, check out the Silent Flautists videos. So, okay, I am really not that skilled to explain how to play the Bansuri, but Vivek explained it in a lot of detail on his channel. Maybe I'll ask him to conduct more live streams taking these kind of questions. But if you have a good grip, you just have to practice how you are blowing into it. So you have this grip like this, you hold it. You close, I don't know. Vivek, if you are here in the comments, what is the best way for the first note? The first 3 holes you close. What fingers, which finger position, all of this Vivek has done in his video. So do that, and you experiment with your mouth position also. I know I'm doing a very bad job of explaining it, but he did a great job of explaining it. So you experiment with it, you place it at the tip of your lower lip and blow straight down. And the finer the opening is, you're blowing into it, the better the sound is. Try with open grip and try first, Sandeep Anna says. So check that out. But there are videos, and it's more it's done better. These recommendations come better from somebody who teaches Bansuri for a living. So yeah, thank you so much, Sandeep, for helping. So I think the first exercise is to just spend your entire breath in one note, playing just one note. And what these names are becomes clearer. We'll get to what the names are. And before we set names for these, I'll set them on the screen itself. We play something which sets the ambience. We have something which sets the ambience, which is an actual instrument called the tanpura. So it's a hollow pumpkin with strings which sets the ground, which kind of prepares the space around so that we have our bearings. It's kind of like, uh, it is what sets which, what is and what is what, the boundaries. So it sets, a tanpura sets boundary conditions that this is the bass note and this is twice that note. So that what we were talking about before, that range in which one can play is set by that tanpura. There are many apps again where this physical instrument can just be played in an app. So a good one for iPhone is iTabla Pro. For Android there is Tanpura Droid, both of which are good. Tanpura Droid has a free version. I think iTabla Pro also has iTabla has a free version. So as soon as a tanpura starts playing, you'll see even this screen here, which was fuzzy, gets clearer. So what it means is, if there is no tanpura, this instrument in the background, in general creation, in the surroundings around us, there is just white noise. There is all frequencies in the same level of same intervals happening. So, same intensity of all frequencies of sounds. So you don't know your bearings. But as soon as a tanpura starts playing, there is some, clarity as to what your playing field is. You see, what was fuzzy suddenly started getting clearer. So you know what your sa is, what your pa is. We'll come to what the sa, pa, everything is. Each of those swaras also has a shloka. It has its physical descriptions, personified descriptions, all of that described in Sangeeta Darpana, and I think also in Sangita Ratnakara. We'll also come to theory step by step. I will put those shlokas here, we'll chant those shlokas, we'll understand them. Eventually, maybe I can do a kind of an audio book narrating all the shlokas of 2 or 3 books of Sangeeta Shastra, maybe Sangeeta Ratnakara definitely. And this will be a step towards covering more such books of all kinds of Shastras. We did Patanjali Yoga Sutras. This International Day of Yoga, maybe we can do Hatha Yoga Pradipika or Brahma Sutras, which has been one of my long pending projects which I want to present. But in this pursuit, we'll do Sangeeta Ratnakara as an audiobook, so that those who are not well versed with Sanskrit also can, chant those shlokas, understand those shlokas as they practice this. All the other questions as to where to buy a good Bansuri, what is a beginner Bansuri, what is a good Bansuri to start with, how much should one's budget be, all of that is covered on the Silent Flautist channel. He's there in the comment section. So check out his channel from here, and he has 3 videos already up, and I don't know, did he post the 4th video also? We'll also look at some of his videos, watch them along and play them. Right now, the plan now is to just do sa re ga ma pa da ni sa sa ni da pa ma ga re sa for the next probably 15 minutes. What time is it? 10:51. Then have some questions if possible, and then call it a night, and Shubharatri. And if you have not done so already, please click on the like button, guys, and subscribe to the channel, and if possible, take up memberships. And a very, very, very happy Vasanta Panchami once again to all of you. And thank you so much for enabling me to do this, and I'm excited to continue more of this. So More of sarigama padanisa sanidapa magarisa. Right now, I'm sure this sound from the Bansuri is a little jarring to the ears. Generally, Bansuri players who stream have a sound card and they add a little bit of reverb and noise cancellation so that it sounds a little more melodious. I will do that. I need to invest in some more equipment to do that. Sachin Salil ji, I will look at Instagram. Please say namaskaram something. Please bump up that message so that it comes on top. It looks like it might be a personal question. Yeah. So yes. Shivangelis ji, that is called as Pitch Lab. I think they pulled down this app. I just saved an APK of this long ago. I will share this on Drive. I don't know what the rules are around copyright and commercial use. This is not exactly commercial use. I'm not selling it, but I'm promoting it. It's not Speech Lab. It is Pitch, PITCH Lab. If it's not available on Play Store, I'll leave an APK, a downloadable APK of it so that you can install it. Thank you so much, Vivekji, for the tips. Use the upper lip to pressurize the orifice and stretch the lower lip. It will give a clearer note. Yeah, I was struggling with the higher notes from pa up. Use the upper lip to pressurize the orifice. Okay. Makes sense. I'll practice it some more like that. Thank you. But yeah, like this from noob, basic noob, very step by step. And I don't have the sound card yet, so this will get a little more soothing. But thank you so much for all the positivity and support, guys. So sweet. We will hopefully learn this together more and be able to play small tunes within maybe a couple of months, and just understand more of Sangita Shastra for ourselves, explore what it has to say, how it affects the human body, because there is a lot of research about these ragas and how they are for very they can be used to evoke various emotions, to even be used in healing or hurting. I hope my playing is not too hurting at the moment, but if it's done well, these ragas have this tendency to affect the human body in a very deep way, to evoke various kinds of emotions, to influence the human body and bring about well-being too. I don't know what Abhirami Andadi, what is Abhirami this? I'll just Google it. I hope your spelling is correct. Venkatesh ji, what were you asking about? Is it Abhirami Antadi? It's a Tamil collection of poems sung on goddess Abhirami. Oh, I did not know about this. Let's Tamil. It takes, I don't know, I don't have any plans of exploring Tamil is a vast ocean in itself. Are there any good Tamil content creators, guys, who are exploring Tirukkural and all the Sangam literature? If you guys know any such good creators that I can follow, I will get in touch with them and I'll seek them to teach me more Tamil, because my Tamil is very basic. Pesa theriyum avladhaan. I need to learn more. Thank you so much for your support, Santosh ji. Dushyantana is so busy. If I ask him teach me Tamil, will he teach you? I mean, there is a possibility to learn the pasurams and all that from his channel, but I know him personally, but he is fully busy with all his upanyasams and pravachanams, and he's trying to make more content also. So Kannada barutte, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ನನಗೆ. ನೀವು ಕನ್ನಡಿಗರಾ, ಅಭಿಷೇಕ್ ಅವರೇ? All of it, little I know. Let's see how far we can present Sanskrit. I know even I am not very happy with English being my main language of communication at the moment, guys. But unfortunately, fortunately, whatever be the case, English is the choice of language right now for me to present Sanskrit. Agre gatva samskrite eva vadamaha vayam sarve iti prayasah bhavatu asmakam sarvesham. परंतु इदानीमहं यदि संस्कृतभाषायां वदामि, श्रवणार्थं सम्यक् भवति, परन्तु अवगमनं कथं भवति इति अहं न जाने. तत्र तु शङ्का अस्ति एव. कति जनाः जानन्ति अत्र संस्कृतम्? एकवारं चाट् बाक्स् मध्ये वदन्तु. And it's probably Abhishek ji is not a Kannadiga, because a Kannadiga would have never typed, Kannad? He would have said Kannada. सन्दीपन्न भवान् जानाति संस्कृतम् उत्तमं सम्भाषणार्थं दुर्लभमस्ति, दुष्करमस्ति, दुष्करः अस्ति, दुर्लभं यत् लभते तद् दुर्लभं, यत् कुरुते तद् दुष्करम् अस्तु. Namaskaram, namaskaram. Thank you so much for joining, guys. If you can do miracles for our country, I mean, firstly, I do it for myself, but I do have a lot of pride and I experience a lot of privilege for having been born in this land. Look at the amount of richness that we have been, where we've been privy to. But all of this was systematically broken with no access to Sanskrit, and now we are speaking to each other in a language of our colonizers, unfortunately, and we do it better than them, even if they agree or not. Well, agre gatva sarve vayam sarve api samskritabhashayameva sambhashanam kurmah. There are so many things that we need to work on, so many things that our country as a whole needs to work on, but now it's just become random live stream talk, varanda talk. Sorry Guru, Kannada autocorrect ಆಯ್ತು ಅಸ್ತು. ದೆನ್ ನೀವು ಕನ್ನಡಿಗರು, ಐ ಅಗ್ರಿ. ನನಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಪ್ರಯತ್ನಂ ಕರಿಷ್ಯಾಮಿ, ಅಹಂ ಕರಿಷ್ಯಾಮಿ, ಸಹ ಕರಿಷ್ಯತಿ. ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತಭಾಷಾಮಪಿ ಇದಾनीं किञ्चित् पाठयितव्यं. क्षम्यतां, मम संस्कृतकक्षाः इदानीं न चलन्ति. अहमपि किं वदामः, ममापि अभ्यासः भवति एव संस्कृतस्य अन्यविषयाश्च. तर्हि even I want to learn a lot of things. I might know a little bit of Sanskrit, but I am just curious to learn more for myself. So किञ्चित् गुजराती भाषां, किञ्चित् कन्नड, किञ्चित् Bengali. If all the Bengalis in chat and everybody else in general, I have watched this brilliant Bengali movie called Bollabpure Rupkatha. You must watch it. I mean, I of course love RRR, Telugu being my second mother tongue. RRR is of course visual wonder, but this movie is brilliant. So it is Bollabpure Rupkatha, directed by Anirban Bhattacharya, I think. Please watch it. It's lovely. Have the Bengalis already watched it? Shantosh da, have আপনি দেখেছো? ঠিক বলছি আমি বাংলা? জানি না, একটু বলছি, বুঝতে পারি, but can't speak it correctly. I think it's not on Bhima. It's a play written by Badol Sharkar, who is a brilliant playwright, very left, I think, Vamapanthi, very leftist communist, but of course there is a lot of art and love there too. So lovely story, beautiful direction. It's a piece of art. It's a very recent movie, so do watch that. Shri Panchami Shubhakankshalo Annaya. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you so much Sakshiji. Thank you so much for your beautiful rendition of Shyamala Dandakam. My pleasure. I hope you guys watched Shyamala Dandakam. All the Telugu and Hindi speakers, you have translations in Telugu and Hindi as well, and English of course was our default. Bengali translations we are doing. I'm yet to do a little bit of proofreading. Nepali is almost done. Kannada people have not yet come back to me. Tamil people, I've sent them content, but I can't translate them confidently into these languages myself. So other languages also I'll put out, but it'll be a little late. I'm sorry I could not put them all out before Vasanta Panchami, but maybe for next year's Vasanta Panchami you can pick it up. Oh, you haven't watched it, Bishasda? You have to watch it. Do check it out. Yes, I have sent the Telugu version to my Amma too. That's so nice. All right. I think people are logging off. Let's also end this stream here. It's almost been 1.5 hours. Thank you so much for joining once again, everyone. A very, very, very happy 74th, right? Republic Day to all of us. and a very auspicious Shyamala Navaratri and Adya Vasanta Panchami to all of us. Namaskaram. Thank you so much for joining in. I'll ask Vivek for what to stream and how to stream. Maybe we can bring him also on and have some live lessons. Do check out his channel as well, The Silent Flautist, for ongoing lessons from basics of Bansuri. I see your comment, Shivangelist ji. I will put up the APK, maybe put it in a Google Play Store. If possible, can you please check what the policy is on distributing software that has been removed from the Play Store? This is, if it's no longer there, I don't know what the laws are around streaming it, using it, or distributing it. I don't want to break them or anything. But I can put up the APK on Google Drive and then share. Maybe you can, find older versions of the same app. But Ankit Tumar ji asks, my wife and I are expecting a child around Ramanavami. How sweet. And I am exploring names. But you don't know yet, right? If it's a boy child or a girl child. You have a very safe, healthy, happy delivery. Then we'll see. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Once again, Shubharatri, everybody. Namaskaram.